From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, January 26th. We do have a shot for some isolated to scattered snow showers throughout the day today. You might have seen some this morning, but the biggest headline is the cold. 30s and breezy winds will make for a brisk day. This leads to a cold Friday morning start. Wind chills possibly in the single digits tomorrow morning. So make sure you really bundle up those kiddos for their school bus stops in the morning. We did have breaking news this morning out of the Far East Side. Investigators are working to figure out how a young man ended up shot to death in an Indianapolis neighborhood. IMBD says somebody reported shots being heard near 38th and Post a little after midnight. When officers got there, they say they found some cracks in the back of several houses on Whitfield Street. Police say they searched one home with an open door, didn't find anyone inside. Officers did find blood spatter and a stolen car in the area, kept searching. Police say they eventually found a young man's body just north of the search area with a gun next to him. IMPD hasn't made any arrests. And family members say a man accused of kidnapping his baby has a history of violence. Leilani Peaches is 3 months old. Her father, Lawrence Whitsitt, does not have custody, but police say he took the child Tuesday, prompting a statewide search. The baby is safe now, and Whitsitt faces charges. Family members of the baby's mother say Whitsitt is abusive. DeWanda Mack says her daughter sought help at the Julian Center after years of abuse, including an incident that left her with a broken jaw late last month. Mack says their relationship started in 2019 and has included harrowing scares.
Her father went to take her back home to Gary, Indiana, just to give her a break from this situation. And he traveled down to Gary later on that night and threw a Molotov cocktail through his window and set the couch on fire in the middle of the night. And that was our first warning sign.
Police are not yet saying what charges Whitsitt may face. And a court appearance for Kagan Klein will not happen today. Klein is charged with 25 counts of child pornography and exploitation and a case with links to the Delphi double murder investigation. He is not charged in that case. He was scheduled to appear in court this morning, but a judge has rescheduled it. The new date is March 30th. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita and several other attorneys general from across the country are urging Congress to pass legislation allowing state prisons to jam the signals of cell phones smuggled to inmates. 22 attorneys general sent a letter to House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer yesterday. The letter cites criminal incidents the attorneys say were caused by contraband cell phones, including a deadly prison riot in South Carolina in 2018. Rokita shared a tweet with a link to the letter yesterday afternoon. It says, protecting the public safety of Hoosiers is a top priority. We call on Congress to give states the authority to use cell phone jamming systems in correctional facilities. Too often, drug trafficking and murder is coordinated by phones smuggled to inmates. Senators are reacting with swift bipartisan anger over classified documents found in the homes of President Biden, former President Trump, and now former Vice President Mike Pence. This comes as we learn new details about the contents of the materials found in Pence's Carmel home. CNN cites anonymous sources who say the Pence documents include background briefing memos used to prepare Pence for foreign trips. CNN also reports they were tucked into binders, so they may have been missed during the packing process. The report shows the documents only would have been visible if the packers went through the binders page by page. Those documents were handed over by Pence's lawyers at Pence's request. They were taken to D.C. on Tuesday. The FBI is now working with U.S. intelligence agencies to assess the documents. The Senate Intelligence Committee met with the National Intelligence Director this week. Lawmakers walked out insisting they should see for themselves what documents Biden, Trump, and Pence were holding. They say the Biden administration is stonewalling them.
I'm prepared to refuse consent or to fast-track any nominee for any department or agency and to take every step I can on every committee on which I serve to impose consequences on the administration until they provide these documents.
I'm frustrated that if anyone doesn't handle confidential and secret documents in the manner in which they're supposed to.
You first heard from Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican out of Arkansas there. The second person you heard from was Democrat Representative Pete Aguilar out of California. Now, as far as Congress is concerned, the Senate Intelligence Committee Vice Chairman Marco Rubio says senators may withhold dollars from the intelligence community if Congress isn't given special access to the materials. Senators say they also may look for ways to put more safeguards around presidential transitions and the handling of documents. Facebook and Instagram will reinstate the accounts of former President Donald Trump soon. Meta, the parent company of the social media sites, announced the decision Wednesday. The move will end a 2-year suspension imposed after the January 6th Capitol riots. Meta says it is adding new guardrails to prevent repeat offenses. Twitter restored Trump's account in November. Video and audio will soon be released detailing the moments Paul Pelosi was attacked in his home. That's according to a California court's ruling. The court is ruling that the San Francisco Attorney's Office must make the 911 calls, police body cam footage, and home surveillance video public. The court's also ruling that audio from a police interview with suspected attacker David DePape must be made public. As we've talked about here on the podcast, the former House Speaker's husband was attacked at his home last October. DePape's lawyers have argued against the release of the materials, saying it will irreparably damage his right to a fair trial. Today, criminal charges for Boeing for its role in the deadly crashes of 2 737 MAX planes. The disasters in 2018 and 19 killed a total of 346 people. Boeing came to a settlement agreement with the government in 2021 to avoid any criminal prosecution, but family members successfully argued that they should have been part of the process. Today's hearing includes formal arraignments for Boeing and testimony from up to 12 relatives, hoping to convince the Justice Department to throw out the settlement. A federal investigation is starting over the holiday meltdown of Southwest Airlines. The carrier canceled nearly 17,000 flights in the closing days of December. The Transportation Department is looking at Southwest scheduled more flights than it could handle. That could be considered an unfair and deceptive practice under federal law. Southwest has issued a new statement saying it plans to fully cooperate with any government oversight. Today, organizers will hold a rally in response to what Bloomington police call a racially motivated stabbing. The stabbing happened in Bloomington. The rally will be in Columbus. The Indiana Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association plans to condemn the attack against an 18-year-old Asian American IU student. That student is also from Carmel. Police say she was getting off a bus earlier this month when 56-year-old Billy Davis stabbed her repeatedly in the head. Davis is now charged with attempted murder. Indiana leaders say that these types of brutal attacks hit home and must stop. They're asking for the community's support to fight against any form of bigotry and hate. The mayor of Columbus, the city council, members from the local NAACP, clergymen, and the Columbus Police Department will also be at the rally. More events are also scheduled to show support today. IU is hosting the virtual discussion on confronting anti-Asian American racism and marginalization. That's at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The webinar will offer advice on better support for Asians and Asian Americans at IU and Bloomington. Registration is required, however. It is free. Virginia's Newport News School District is removing its top education official. This comes nearly 3 weeks after a 6-year-old student shot a teacher, Abby Zwerner, at the school. Superintendent George Parker III's last day will be February 1st. The school board voted him out 5-1 yesterday. It comes on the same day the elementary school's assistant principal, Ebony Parker, resigned. Zwerner's lawyer said yesterday that Zwerner and 3 other teachers had tried to warn school administrators that the boy had a gun before the shooting happened. In California, a farm worker is now formally charged with 7 counts of murder for a mass shooting in Half Moon Bay. As we've reported, 7 people were found dead and 1 more was found wounded across 2 different locations Tuesday afternoon. Prosecutors filed the charges against the 66-year-old suspect yesterday. The charges could result in a death penalty or life in prison without parole if convicted. He's set to appear in court February 16th. Authorities say the suspect in the mass shooting in Monterey Park, California, did not know any of his victims. That shooting happened Saturday night during a Lunar New Year celebration at a ballroom dance club. The Los Angeles County Sheriff says the 72-year-old suspect was an immigrant from Hong Kong, and he had not been to the dance hall in at least 5 years. The department says he fired 42 shots with an unregistered gun he bought in 1999. And the crime scene in Monterey Park turned into a place of peace last night. The dance hall hosted a vigil for the victims, who included the dance hall manager and several regulars. People held candles, showed signs of support, and placed flowers in memory of the victims. Organizers say hundreds of people showed up. And Vice President Kamala Harris is also honoring the Monterey Park victims. She visited the scene yesterday, offering condolences to the victims' families and urging Congress to do more to stop gun violence.
Can they do something? Yes. Should they do something? Yes.
Will they?
Will they do something? That is where we all must speak up and speak to our elected representatives about what we have a right to expect that they will do in the interest of the safety, the security, and the well-being of people like those whose lives were ended here and people around our country.
Authorities say 3 mass shootings in less than a week in California have left a total of 19 people dead. And back here in central Indiana, the race for mayor in Carmel grows again today. City Council member Miles Nelson plans to file paperwork. He's a Democrat and has been on the city council since 2020. His campaign says he will file at the Hamilton County Clerk's office at noon. Nelson is the only Democrat so far to enter the race to replace longtime Mayor Jim Brainerd. Republicans Sue Finkham and Woody Ryder are also running. The primary election is set for May 2nd. To business headlines now, the National Retail Federation found that Americans plan to spend $26 billion on their sweethearts this year, up from $24 billion last year. Yes, talking about Valentine's Day, that means 2023 could be one of the highest spending years on record for the holiday. But given recent trends, some experts are concerned that the feelings of generosity surrounding this year's February 14th celebration will only contribute more to Americans' already swollen credit card balances. General Mills announced a new mini breakfast bundle offering items that pair with mini boxes of fan favorite cereal. Various limited edition kitchen items will be included in a themed breakfast bundle to be released January 27th. The new drop will feature General Mills themed items like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch mini fridge. Levi's CEO tells Bloomberg that skinny jeans will never die. He also says mid-rise jeans are the hottest item, reversing the ultra-high-waisted trend. But women's skinny jeans, particularly the retailer's 311 and 721 designs, are still the top-selling style. IBM plans to cut about 3,900 jobs, or 1.5% of its workforce. The company described the cuts as mainly a result of earlier asset sales rather than a weakness in its business. Big tech companies have been downsizing in earnest and slashing costs to better cope with the global economic downturn. And finally, shopping without children can save you an average of $46 a trip. Commissioned by Slick Deals and conducted by One Poll, the survey found 2 in 3 parents said shopping with their kids tends to be more expensive than just shopping by themselves. Solo ventures cost an average of $133. Meanwhile, shopping with kids costs an average of $179. Parents shared the other weirdest things their kids have asked for while shopping. Apparently, kids have asked for slime, iPhones, a ferret, pig ear chew toys meant for dogs, and even a taxiderm alligator. But do you buy it? That's the thing, parents. You have the choice. You can say no. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com. And follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.